Greetings, shopmates, and welcome to Tinkering Bells, a show about DIY, design, and all things hands-on. The sky's the limit as we talk props, metalwork, cosplay, woodwork, leather, electronics, and so much more. I'm Tamara Robertson, your host, so strap on your tool belts because we're about to get into some skill sharing, y'all. Today, I'm going to be joined by a maker who launched her first motorsports business at 14. Now, I don't want to give away too much, but this maker is leading the way and connecting the dots to other inspiring trailblazers. So if that doesn't make you want to stick around and hear more, then you might be at the wrong podcast. But first, let's go ahead and have our tech talk of the day. So we're going to be talking all about the Hemmings Great Race and all of the incredible people and sponsors that made our vintage Ford Fairlane race ready, including our lead racer and her build team at Riley's Rebuilds, who handled the entire vehicle build out, not once, but twice, and sponsor Edelbrock, who gifted so many parts, including Riley's favorite, the carburetor. So let's back it up. Where did the carburetor get its start? The first working carburetor was developed in 1876 by Carl Benz. Yep, that Benz. As a way to mix air and fuel before ignition in early gas engines. Now, carburetors became the standard fuel delivery system in vehicles for over a century, evolving from a simple updraft type to the more complex four-barrel monsters of American muscle cars in the 1960s and 70s. They work on a very simple but powerful principle, the Venturi effect, where fast-moving air creates a vacuum that pulls in fuel and atomizes it, essential for power throttle response and smooth running. Now, legendary names like Edelbrock led the performance revolution in carb design, especially in racing. Founded in 1938, Edelbrock set the standard for their tuned intake manifolds and high-performance carbs, trusted by hot rodders, racers, and engine builders for decades. Today, Edelbrock's AVS2 carburetors bring together old-school tuning capability with modern reliability, making them a go-to for restorers and racers alike, including Riley, who launched her first company at 14, rebuilding classic carbs and empowering the next generation of wrenchers with Riley Rebuilds. Well, that's it for your tech talk. As always, you can join in on the conversation with my maker friends and me on the Tinkering Bells Instagram and X pages. Just search for Bells Tinkering, hit follow, and share your DIY adventures together with us. Have a tool you want to learn about? Let me know, and it may be featured in a future episode. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, or possibly even what we missed. So now we're going to be getting into the main event, and I am so excited to introduce you to our next maker. So drum roll, please. Presenting Riley. Riley, thanks for joining me. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. So I'd like to start off by letting people know where they should go to find you, follow you, and what they might expect when they go to those locations.
Yeah, so where you can follow me is Riley's Rebuilds on every platform, and what to expect is I have my own company. It's a carburetor rebuilding service, and we have hired 5 girl high schoolers and 3 boys who work on carburetors, and we started to do car builds. So it's a lot of old classic builds. We're right now working on a 66 Ford Fairlane. I have a 95 Jeep, a 94 350. So we have a bunch of different little car projects, and then obviously the little ones are slowly getting their projects, so we're going to start expanding onto that.
I love this. And so you and I actually met in 2023 at SEMA. And for those of you that don't know, that's the aftermarket show that happens in Vegas every year. And so Riley and I were actually doing autograph sessions with our fans in the She Shed booth, which was this cool assembly of trailblazing ladies from the Jessi Combs Foundation, the Real Deal Revolution, and All Girl Gangs Garage. But as a superhero scientist, one of the things I really love to learn is people's origin stories. And I don't know that I've actually got to hear from you what your gearhead origin story was. Like, what got you started to begin with?
Oh, that's so funny. And first off, let me say, signing autographs next to you at that year was like mind blowing, okay? That was insane. That was so much fun. And yeah, so, but the origin story kind of started before I was born. We can start there. So my dad's always been a gearhead, and he bought a car about 21 years ago. It was a 1957 Chevy Nomad. And so that's what has been always in my garage. My dad was also a stay-at-home dad. I actually kind of grew up with my crib in the garage. Whenever my mom was gone, he'd be wrenching there, and that Nomad was what he was wrenching. So I grew up very tomboy. He also was a wrestling coach, so I grew up with a bunch of high school boys in the house all the time. So it was definitely a big tomboy household, and I knew growing up that I wanted to be able to know what was under the hood. If I broke down, I didn't have to call anybody. I didn't need no man, be really independent as a woman. And it stuck at a young age. I started wrenching with my father. And then about 14, I said, hey, Dad, when are you going to buy me a car? What car is it going to be? I would like to wrench on it and work with it. And then he said, whoa, me buy you a car? You have to buy your own car. And in Florida, the age of getting a job is 14. I was like 13 at the time, and it's minimum wage, which was like $8. So I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work for my price point, for what I want, etc., etc. And he told me to go into the garage, find something to flip, and there was an Edelbrock carburetor. He explained what it was to me, and he kind of showed me the basics and was like, wait, this is really easy. Like, you would really like this. And we took it apart and we put it back together and we sold it in like 30 minutes. And ever since then, I was hooked. And what's really fun is I did travel competitive soccer. So we traveled all over Florida, all over the States. And we ended up, every time we were traveling, going on Facebook Marketplace and finding these old carburetors. And I ended up pretty much selling out all of Florida. I bought all the carburetors off of Facebook Marketplace in Florida.
I
After
love
doing
that.
this for like 2-ish years, I got my car. I started wrenching on that. It was a 95 YJ. It's a Jurassic Park Jeep. And then about, I would say, what, 4 or 5 years ago? It gets older and older and older every time I tell it. 5 years ago, I went viral on social media because I was asking for parts and carburetors because I'd pretty much bought out all of Florida, and that went viral on Facebook, and we ended up having 300 carburetors in the next 2 weeks on our doorsteps for free. We got a bunch of sponsorships that reached out, and Dane and my mom are marketers, and they're business people, and they saw that I could do something with this and make a career out of it, and we really jumped on it. And I ended up hiring my 4 girl best friends. They joined me in the garage. They quit their part-time jobs and they joined me, and ever since then we've been going to SEMA, we've been going to PRI, we've been doing builds, we've been just saying yes to everything and anything that we can. And now we're actually starting to find groups and bring women together and start leading certain things now. So I'm really excited for that.
I love that. And there's so many gems in that, there's the fact that you just like authentically grew up in it. There's the fact that you just are currently saying yes to everything. There's the like asking for help when you needed it from the community and now building the community yourself. And it's funny because my next question was actually going to be why carburetors, but it sounds like we know the why. So I started this episode with the history of carburetors, but how about if you could walk the audience through a Mickey Mouse version of like, what is a carburetor and why should they care if it works or doesn't work in their vehicle?
Okay, so the carburetor is genuinely the heart of your car. Anything pre-80s has a carburetor. Boats have carburetors, bikes have carburetors. There's a lot of carburetors everywhere. And it's the heart. So basically, and what's fun, I like to tell this to kids, and kids are like, what? Is when you step on the gas pedal, you're actually putting air into your car. So a carburetor takes gas and air and mixes it to make the right mixture for your car to make it run. Like right now, we're having major carburetor problems. We have enough air coming into our carburetors. We have 2 carburetors on our car. We don't have enough gas. It's just too lean. So your carburetor, you can either run rich or you can run light. And that's when tuning comes in and making sure that your carburetor is healthy and clean. That is normally the number one problem of everybody's car problems when you start a classic car project or just an older project.
That's really cool to know. And so, what we're talking about in this mini series is the Great Race. And I love to say that you are the one that assembled all of us. You know, we are your car Avengers. And so, I have to ask, like, before you got invited to the Great Race, were you aware of the race? Did you have ambitions to be in it? Like, what were your initial thoughts?
So initially, no, I didn't know much about the Great Race. I had known it's been like a huge bucket list on a bunch of car people's like list. And I know Jessi did it, and I'd hear the here or there, but until we were at SEMA and Coker and Hemmings had come to us being like, hey, this would be something you're interested in doing, it wasn't something huge on our list. But after they brought it to our attention and they showed us photos, we were like, yes, that is so cool. We're obviously going to do that.
I love that. And so we are, as you noted, going to be following in the notable footsteps of Jessi Combs, who did an episode of The List, which is, you know, the races and events that car people should do before they die. So with that, I would love if you would share with the audience your Jessi Connect and your Jessi story.
So I actually personally didn't know Jessi before she passed away. I first learned of her through the documentary. My dad Dane, came to me saying, you need to watch this. It just came out. It's something beautiful. They did such a well job, like, picturing her. And if you're going to be in the industry, you need to know her. And so I watched that and I cried my eyes out, and it was the most amazing documentary. And I slowly had people telling me stories about her. And through that, I started to gain a really good image of her, and I felt like I was connected to her in so many different ways. Every person that she met made a mark on them. And every person that talked to me about her said that they were her best friend, or she was their best friend. And she was just such a ray of sunshine, and she was an amazing woman. And my first year of SEMA, when I came with my best friends, we were all girls, and Dane and I said, okay, we're going to say yes and to everything and try and get in as many seminars and as many like women-owned and women things that we can to really see how I could be involved into this industry. And we met the Jessi Combs Foundation. And I just started talking to everybody and all the women, and it really painted such a beautiful picture of Jessi. And in 2023, I ended up winning the Rising Star Award for the Jessi Combs Foundation. And that really signified like where I was. Like I knew that this was a group of ladies I wanted to be involved with. I absolutely loved the foundation. I love what she stands for and how she's made a mark in the industry. And I could never live up to her, but one day, hopefully, I would love to be like her.
Well, one of the things that I've heard Jessi say at events is that you shouldn't want to be Jessi. You should want to be you, and just know that she is empowering you in any way that she can along the way. She always just really told every young person, young and old, honestly, anyone that she met, that like they each had something unique and beautiful to bring to the world, and that they shouldn't want to be her, that they should want to be who they're meant to be. And okay, so you got to know the foundation because of the Rising Star Award, and then we're obviously going to be following in Jessi's footsteps. Jessi was the Grand Marshal in 2016. Obviously, she did the other half of the country than we're doing. But like, what has it meant to you to be having this race specifically be in partnership with the Jessi Combs Foundation, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so this First off, it's such an honor being able to like race and drive with Jessi's name. Our car is Jessi's colors, and we have the beautiful Jessi Combs vinyl, the logo. We're gonna have all the women signing the back of the trunk. It's on there, and we have I have cute little ladybugs everywhere, like little red and white polka dots everywhere for everybody to find. It's definitely wonderful, and I'm really glad it came along to that. We were gonna do a Pinto car, and I couldn't wish for a better paint color, and it looks so cool. So I'm really excited for the ladies to be representing the tribute and representing Jessi through that drive.
I love it. And I know the foundation's going to be sending some bandanas so that we can like rock the dots. And, the one thing
Yes.
that we always tell the audience, I just want you to know if you see red and white dots, go and say hi, because anyone that's connected to the foundation, we believe that the bandana is actually introducing people that Jessi would like to have meet in person. And it's really been life-changing, some of the people that I've met, just by being like, hey, I love your dots. Can you tell me about how you got them? And the number of them that have either met Jessi in person or have gone through a Real Deal Revolution workshop or been at an event that the foundation's at. It's just truly impactful, that community as it grows one dot at a time.
Yeah, I love that the bandana represents, because I wear mine wherever I go on my wrist. But I love how also each woman accessorizes it in their own way. So I've seen women do upper shoulder, upper arm, leg, hair, neck, and it's such a versatile thing. And what's actually really funny is we were driving and we had somebody who knew Jessi pull up to us next in the RV, and we're like, "I love your car. I knew her." And I was like, "That's so cute. That's so sweet. Like that's just Jessi. That's her name, and that's her image and her vision, coming to life. This is what she wanted."
And that's one of the things that I love the most. Like, I remember the first time I saw our iconography that's got the gold J and C, and I didn't at the time realize that the emblem literally was Jessi Combs. And so it's been one of those things that, like, the number of people that do or don't recognize it, like, either way, it brings them together. And I really think that along the race, we're going to hear so many Jessi stories. It's going to be really incredible. Being on the board of the foundation, and meeting you both at SEMA, and then since then seeing what you're doing to not only rise you're on your own merits, but also to bring other young women along with you is just such a beautiful thing. And so I have to ask, as you were herding the kittens and assembling the team, was there a criteria when you did that call out to all of the women that are joining us on this race? Like, what in your mind was the one thing you hoped each person could bring?
I knew that I wanted to bring anybody that I'd ever come across that was a woman in the industry. And that's why the initial group chat was so big. Was I think I went through my entire following and just added every woman that I had in there. I just knew I wanted some really rad ladies who knew what they wanted, knew that they were powerful, and knew that they could wrench and really get to it and wanted to get to it. And that was really the only criteria.
I love it. And in talking with so many other road rally racers, like, I know that it's going to be a unique thing having a group of all young ladies, but also young ladies that know what they're doing. Every single one of us is the real deal. We're going to be able to work on the vehicle. And so, there's this word that the foundation uses a lot, and that's the word trailblazer. And it's something that describes Jessi, and it's something that really describes you and everything that you've been doing since you were very, very young. Is that something, what does trailblazer in your mind mean when you're out in the world and trying to embody that?
First off, thank you for the compliment. You're gonna make me cry over here, okay? So I would say trailblazer is somebody who leads with confidence and doesn't care what others say or mean or think. They're somebody who is doing it first, and they are bringing along everybody behind them. I like to think of it kind of as like a wheat farm, and you have a torch and you're going through, and you have to like burn through everything, but it slowly starts to flame out behind you, and really opens up the world to everybody else. And that's what I want to do. Is I want to come in here and really knock down doors. And I know there's been amazing women before me that have done such beautiful things in the industry for women and for us, and have done that. But I also know that every woman that comes into the industry is being a trailblazer, and they're knocking down doors no matter what.
I love that. And, it's part of what I've really enjoyed, like watching as you've been evolving in your career and your standing and everything since 2 years ago to now and beyond, is the fact that you so genuinely do bring others along. And I think that that's something that, while you're leading this group of trailblazing women, and passing that torch, you're not just doing it to a younger generation of women. Like you have women like me, you have women like Teresa from Real Deal Revolution, Dana from the Jessi Combs Foundation. You have this older generation of women too that are getting to see this beautiful light of what it looks like to lift the veil. You have opened the door to all of your sponsors, to all of the young women on the groups. You invite us on every single call, which is a lot of trust. There's people I've known for years that have worked at the same company as me that have been like, maybe you shouldn't be on the call, just so have been just so giving and trusting to this entire group of women. And I think that that style of leadership is something that both young and old can learn from and can really start to integrate into how they're working each day. And so what does it mean to you, as we get out there and we're about to start this race, to know that, like, not only are you, like, you got all these ladies, right, but like you're also going out there because you want to win, right? You're going
Yeah.
out there to lead. So like what's fresh in your mind? Like what are things that we as a group can help you to achieve during this race?
I just want everybody to have a great time. I mean, like
Love that.
we're we're renting to the last minute. Like right now, the car is having some problems. If like for anybody who's not following along, I'll explain a little bit of what's happening to our
Yeah,
car.
please
Is
do.
I had a 390 big block. It was my original Fairlane that I bought a couple years ago. We wrenched it to pieces. It was a shell, and we got it going, and then we got it running, and there was no oil pressure, and we looked, and the motor just ate itself. And so like 4 days before we got on the road, we bought a new Fairlane in South Carolina. We went to the Real Deal Caroline shop, and we've been wrenching on that car for 2 days. We did a whole paint job. We've done literally everything in that car, and we're having now intake problems. We thought it was going to be the distributor, and we thought maybe a master cylinder problem and a couple other things, and we got a new distributor in, and now, ironically, we think it's carburetor problems and that we need new springs because we have 1,000 CFM coming into the carbs, but we have no gas, and we're getting lean pops. So what's also ironic is we've been working with the shop in Minnesota. It's a father-son team, Dan and Pat, who we send all our carburetors we don't do to them, and they live 20 minutes from the race, and they have all the springs and the seats and the needles and everything we think we need, which you can. And these are things you can't normally find in just like auto shops. There's something you have to like order, and it's going to take a while, and we have millions of them back in our shop, but we hopefully that's what we think it is, and we've gone to multiple mechanics through our stops, and we've been wrenching on everything, and so hopefully that's what it is. That's why I say I hope all the ladies just have fun. They make content. Like, we will make this work no matter what. We have a new intake just in case. Like, we've done it before in an hour. We can do it again, and especially with all the ladies coming in, if we're a day late, like, and we just get all these ladies like hands on, and everybody just has fun. That's all I hope for. Like, everybody makes great content, has such great stories and memories, and just really enjoys themselves. And I'm excited for everybody to like connect and actually see each other's faces, and it's like all my worlds connecting at once. So I'm really excited for that.
I'm so stoked. And what I love about this is the beauty of the community piece. Like it really speaks to this community that you've been able to build, not just, for this event, but over the years, all coming together. And, I love that with Riley's rebuilds, you're helping lift and teach that next generation and getting them hands on. And so this has all just been like a really cool thing to watch come together. And so I have to ask, for those that are new, maybe as you call them, the littles, if they're looking to try to figure out like where they fit in motorsport and automotive and kind of this world, do you have some pointers for them on where to get started, where to find resources?
Yeah, so I always say go to your local shop. No shop is going to turn away a little person who wants to, I say little, high schooler that wants to learn or who wants to know. YouTube is always a great start too. Getting just a project car that's under $5,000. There are thousands of videos being like, this is what your first project car should be. This is what you need to look for. This is what you don't want. This is how you wrench on it. YouTube University, amazing. That's how I feel like everybody starts. If there is no mechanical interest in family or in friends, um, shops are a great option. And there's always going to be some old dude a couple neighborhood down from you or a couple houses down with a really rad classic car that's always wrenching, that has always wanted somebody to come in and just like learn. And you have to be a sponge, especially at a young age. You can't say no. You have to say yes to everything. We have a girl, Audrey, she's in the back. She's going to be racing with us. She is such a sponge. She's a yes and person, and like to the fullest extent. She just wants to know everything. She sits and just absorbs it all, and she loves this. And like, it makes it so easy and so nice and so wonderful to have someone like that just wants all this knowledge to take in. You just want to give more and more and more to that person because like they're expecting nothing but just what you know. And that's a really great connection. And that's also a great way to find mentors. You definitely, as a young person, want a mentor in this industry because they have their connections. They can help you out when they can give you different mentor connections. So I've had both, like, my dad was my mentor who introduced me to All Girls Garage, which then I found Bogey. And then Bogey introduced me to Wayne Carini. And then Wayne Carini has introduced me to so many other people. And so mentor after mentor after mentor, after just putting yourself out there, is such a, like, I could not stress it enough to anybody who's trying to get into the industry.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Mentorship has been such a pivotal, like, game changer in my career, always having both a mentor and a mentee. And then I also love to get like a peer mentor that's like about the same age, that's, or not even same age, but same place in their career. Which
Yes.
I don't know if you've experienced this, but like as a trailblazer, oftentimes when you're at the front of the race, it's hard to find people that are in the exact industry you are doing the same thing, but you can often find other trailblazers that are blazing the trail somewhere else that may be at that same stage of like, okay, now I'm to a place where I went viral, or I'm to a place where I'm asking to be getting asked to be a spokesperson or a keynote. Like, so each of those stages, finding someone that's been there, even if it's in a different industry, they can share valuable insight. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah. So there's one question I love to ask everyone that comes on the show, and that is, if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
I would really love to read people's minds,
Ooh.
but only in a positive way.
Okay. I was like,
I
sometimes I don't need to know what people think about me.
Yeah, I don't want to know the negative. I don't want to know anything bad, but I think I would love that because then it could be like, "Oh, I'm really hungry or thirsty right now." And then I'd be like, "Food?" Or just like I would really like that personal connection of just being able to kind of view into somebody else's world too. I think a lot of us sometimes get into our own heads. We
Mhm.
make our own world, and we don't see other people. We don't see other lives until we step out of our own. And I think that would be really really cool to be able to see somebody else's life.
I think that's really interesting too, because like back to that talk about mentorship, it kind of can help you to see a possibility where someone may just like have this inkling but have no idea where to start. And you'd be like, hey, I see that you like automotive. Like, why not come over here?
Yes.
Very,
A lot of people are very nervous to ask, but once you put it out there, they'll instantly grab onto it.
it really will. And I mean, it's one of those things that when you're looking at developing a mentee, for instance, it's always easy to have someone tag along with you to wherever you're going next. And the amount of education and knowledge that they're going to gain in that moment, that for you is just like every day, is kind of incredible.
Yeah.
So, going into the race, what is like the one vehicle you hope you see? Because this is like a vintage car show. So, going into the race, what's one you hope you see out there? What's your dream spot?
That's a good one. I don't even know.
Like, I would have loved to have seen the Bugatti that Jessi got to drive. That would have been a cool
Yes. Oh my
vehicle to
goodness, that
see,
would have been
right?
so cool. I think they're actually like there's a couple of them that
Ooh,
take the race, so I think we might see one or two. Dan and all of us have been joking about like a predated RV making the
ooh,
race. Do you know how cool that would be to see like something older than 70s like in an RV? That's a hard one to do. I also I really like the Broncos. I like those are just
mm,
like that's like my dream car. So I think anything like 73 like Bronco would be really really cool. Any Mustangs too. I mean like
yeah.
any of those really are up my alley for sure.
I like it. I like it. Teresa's going to very much approve of the Bronco message.
I saw she's cutting up one like actively right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think she's hoping to go King Hammers bound with a Bronco this coming year.
That's
So I'm
awesome.
I'm definitely watching all of her gramming to see any sneak peeks. Well, amazing. This has been incredible. The Hemmings Great Race kicks off June 21st in St. Paul, Minnesota, and will run all the way until we hit the finish line in Moore Park, Irmo, South Carolina. So follow all of us on Instagram to stay up to date with all things Creator Race as we tackle this iconic vintage rally road race 1 mile at a time. That's it for Tinkering Bells. This episode is assembled and ready for delivery. Riley, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. This has been really awesome.
I want to thank you for choosing Tinkering Bells as your user's manual for all things maker on a bi-weekly basis. If you want to continue to hear more, don't forget to rate and review the show on your podcasting app of choice, as well as sharing it with your friends. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, don't forget to keep making.